By now you have definitely come across an image upload component in any website. This is a very important component that you should know how to use. In this video, I'll show you how to create a drag and drop image upload component using React.js. We're going to do everything step by step from scratch. I hope you're excited and let's get started. Okay, I have set up a new React project with some very basic styling. And for now it is just saying hello. Let's start creating our component. So new file, and we're going to call it image upload .jsx. And let's just import it in our app component. So we're going to say import image upload from ./image upload and use it here. And this is what we get. Let's start creating. So here, instead of a div, I am going to use a label tag, and you will see why. And inside that I want to have an upload icon. So let's search for upload icon SVG. And let's use this one. I can just open it in VS Code and copy the SVG and paste it here. Save. And the icon is way too big. We can make it smaller. So instead of 800 pixel, let's say 40 pixel. Much better. Now let's create a span tag. And here let's upload image. Now let's give our label a class so we can style it. So let's say class name image upload. Head over to our CSS. Let's target that image upload and let's give it a border of, let's say, 4 pixels solid, and choose a color. It will have a display of block, a width of, let's say, 300 pixel, and instead of height we are going to say aspect ratio of 16 by, let's say, 10, and this is what it looks like. Let's give it a border radius of 16 pixel, and I want everything to be centered, so I'm going to say display of flex. So we don't need the display block here, and it will have a justify content of center and align items to also center, and a flex direction of column, and let's give some gap of 12 pixel, and instead of solid border let's say dashed. This looks better, but the icon is fully black. We don't want that, so I'm going to copy this color, and we're going to say .image upload SVG path, and fill will be the color we just copied. Maybe just a little bit darker than that. Yeah, this is great. And we can change the color on hover, so you can see when we hover on it, image upload :hover, we're going to say border color. We can do the same for our path. And let's just do that for the color as well. So color of also the same color. So now we hover, it becomes blue. Okay, now what I want is, if I click on it, it should open our file explorer. How we can do that? For that we're going to use an input type file. So we're going to say input file. So we're creating a file input. Let's give it a name of image upload and also an ID of image upload. And since we're using the label element, what we can do is say for, and here we are going to just pass the ID of our file input, which is image upload. But we can't use for because we're in a React app and for is a JavaScript keyword. So we're going to say HTML for, like this. Now since the label has a for attribute same as the ID of our input, what we can do is just click anywhere in our label and it opens our file explorer. So that is why we used a label instead of a div. And we can simply hide this input. So we are going to say .image upload and choose the input. We are going to say display of none. So So now we don't see our file input, but if I click here, I still get our Explorer. So this is great. Okay, now what I'm going to do is cut this part out and put it inside a variable. So we can say const upload content equals to, and we can paste it like this. So in the return, what we could do now is just say upload content and we get the same result, but what I want here is focus on our preview part. So we're going to create a div with a class of image preview, and let's just have a dummy image here, and inside that I'm going to have another div with a class of overlay. Inside that we're going to have a button element with a class of, let's say, close button, and here I want to show a close icon. So again we can go back to SVG repo and search for close, and let's use this one, download, open it in VS Code and just copy the SVG and paste it here. Again the SVG is very big, so let's make it smaller. Let's try 24 pixel by 24 pixel. So here is our close icon. Okay, now let's style it. So in our index.css, let's first target our image preview, and here we are going to copy some styles from here. So it will have same width, aspect ratio and border radius, and we can say it will have an overflow of hidden. Then let's target the image inside it. So image preview image, it will have a display of block, a width of 100% and a height of 100%. And object fit will be cover. Now let's target the overlay, so image preview and the overlay inside it. For now let's just give it a background color of red, and we're going to say it will have a width of 100%, height of 100%, and the position will be absolute. So position absolute, top 0, left 0. So it is taking up entire page. We don't want that, so we're going to say our image preview will have a position of relative. Okay, so we can have some padding of, let's say, 16 pixel, and the text align can be right. Now the button, so we're going to say image preview, and the button, actually we give it a class, of close button. We're going to say it will have a background color of transparent and a border of none, and I want the SVG to be white. So here is the path of the SVG and the fill can be white. Okay, now we don't want the red color obviously. Instead we're going to use a gradient, so I'm going to say linear gradient, and we can start from, let's say, red for now and transparent. So this is what it looks like, but I want only this part to be red, so we can play with the degree. So let's try 225 degree, and I think this looks better. So instead of red, let's use a transparent black. So we're going to say RGBA 000, and the opacity can be 0.5, and this is how it looks like. Let's say our button will have a cursor of pointer, and great. So this should be all for our preview content part as well. So I'm going to again cut this part out and put it in a variable. Let's say const preview content equal to whatever we had. So now in the return, we can either return our upload content or we can return our preview content. So we're going to use a use state, and depending on that we can return either one. So I'm going to say import use state from React, and here I'm going to say const image source set image source equals to use state, and we can initialize as null. And we're also going to use this image source in our image source here. So instead of a string, we're going to have the image source state. And now here, instead of returning preview, we're going to say if we have an image source, in that case we want to show the preview content. If we don't, we want to show the upload content. So since our image source is null, it is not showing anything. But if we try to have a source here, then we get the image. So this is working. Now we want to focus on our handling drag and drop, because although if I click here I get a file explorer, but if I try to open the explorer and drop a file, it just opens it in a new tab. We don't want that. So for that we want to add some event listeners to our label here. So what we're going to do is create some event listeners. So we're going to say const handle drag over. It will be a function that receives event, and we're going to say event.prevent default to prevent the default browser behavior. And then we can, for now, let's just say console.log, and we're going to say handle drag over, and we can add it in our labels. So copy this, and in the label we can say on drag over. It will be our handle drag over event that gets fired. So open the console, refresh, and we actually have some errors. So it is saying invalid property xmlns:link. So in our SVG we don't need this attribute, so I can remove it. It's here also, and here too. Okay, no errors. And let's open the Explorer and drop a file, and we get handle drag over, but it still opens it in a new tab. So what we're going to do is create another event listener. This time it will be handle drop, and we're going to say handle drop here. So on drop we're going to fire the handle drop function. So now we get handle drop, and our image is not opened in a new tab. Great. So just like this, you also have a drag enter and drag leave event. You can listen to them as well, but we don't need that for this video. What we need here is the files. So here we can say event.datatransfer.files, and this should give us the files. If I choose here, as you can see, I get a list of files, a length of 1 because I chose one file. Okay, now I want to handle when user clicks on here to upload the image. So for now we're not handling it, so let's handle it. So I'm going to create a new event listener. So const handle image input. It will receive the event, and for now let's just console log the event, and we can use it in our input. So here in the file input we can say on change, we're going to fire the handle image input. So let's choose an image, and we get this event. So what we want is get the file. So we can say event.target.files, save it and choose a file, and we get a file again. So we're getting our file when we choose file manually by clicking on it, or if we drag and drop it. So now we want to create a function that handles our file. So we're going to say const handle files, and it will receive files as its argument. If we don't have any files, so if !files, we are going to return. So if we have not chosen any file, we don't want to do anything. And then we can say const file equals to files 0. So user can choose multiple files, but we only want to work with one image, so we're choosing the first image in the files array. Okay, now what we have to do is get the image source as a base64 string from the file. So for that we're going to use a file reader. So we're going to say const reader equals to new file reader, and then we're going to say reader.read as data URL, and we're going to pass our file, and then we can say reader.onload is going to be a function, and here we're going to say set image source, and it will be reader.result. Okay, let's use this instead of console log. So instead of console log, we can simply call the function, and let's try to use it, and here we get the image. Let's try to do the drag and drop part. And it still works. So now when we click on it, we just want to remove our source, so we can go to our button and say on click, and we can say set image source back to null, and we should use it as a function. So function that sets the source to null. Refresh, we get the image. If we close, we get the uploader again. Let's try drag and drop, and it is still working. So this is how you can create an image upload component with React.